Ladies and gentlemen, I found the funniest movie of 2025. And no, it's not The Naked Gun. Nope, in fact, it's the roughly 97th low-budget version of War of the Worlds, starring Ice Cube and Eva Longoria, in what critics have decided is an absolute bomb. It's currently got a 0% over on Rotten Tomatoes, while the Letterboxd rating averages out to 1.2. It's not great.
Hey, Italian man! Huh?
Anyway, slap on your spoiler goggles and let's dig into this plot. First things first, this is one of those desktop movies like Unfriended and Searching. Right off the bat, red flag. But there have been strong examples of these types of films. Just look at the Zoom-based horror flick Host. It's definitely a viable genre, but a tricky one, as seen, well, with War of the Worlds. The second thing that'll jump out to you is our leading man. Ice Cube here feels basically like one of those pre-ride videos at Universal Studios. You know what I mean? Add some 4DX and War of the Worlds is one hefty ticket price away from being a dark ride. Anyway, Ice Cube plays William Radford, an employee of the Department of Homeland Security who spends his time spying on literally anyone he wants, including his own daughter, which seems like a misuse of government funds, but I digress. We quickly learn all about the cast of characters virtually surrounding Radford, who's working the graveyard shift at DHS headquarters, which is confusing, considering it's the middle of the day. You'd think there'd be more people in this particular office on a Sunday morning, but nope, just Radford, all alone, at the Department of Homeland Security. Sure. Sorry, I keep getting distracted. What was I talking about? Oh right, the characters. We've got the pregnant biologist Faith Radford, the aforementioned daughter, who isn't nearly as disturbed by her father's behavior as she should be. She has a boyfriend, Mark, who's an Amazon delivery driver. An interesting bit of synchronicity given this premiered on Prime Video. Then there's Dave Radford, William's son, who seemingly just plays video games all day, but we'll get back to that. Longoria plays Dr. Sandra Salas, a friend of Radford's who works for NASA and just really likes sending her friend stock footage of storms. We all have our kink. Oh, there's another thing that you'll have to get used to. The stock footage. Who buddy? I hope you like your cinema with a hefty side order of Envato elements, because this sucker is filled to the brim. Not a minute seems to go by without the editor culling from every stock video retailer on the interwebs. It's egregious. The film starts off with Radford tracking down Disruptor, a hacker who's just about to leak classified documents regarding the Goliath program, a top-secret data harvesting something or another that they postulate as being used to enslave humanity. Disruptor speaks with a voice mod, which presumably is just too advanced for DHS to crack. But hey, we'll also get back to that. It turns out that Disruptor has fooled Radford and used a decoy relay to pull one over on DHS. But that's suddenly a secondary concern when big ol' meteors start falling from the sky and crashing into cities around the world. As you might expect, this leads to global chaos, death and destruction, spilled coffee, the whole 9 yards. If you've seen any other variation on War of the Worlds, you have some idea of what's about to happen. Using his vast and often inexplicably high-functioning resources, Radford manages to check on his kids before hopping on a Zoom meeting with Sandra, as well as the Secretary of Defense, played by Michael O'Neill, and the Director of DHS, Donald Briggs, played by Clark Gregg. That's right, this suck heap got Agent Coulson. MCU stands, we send our condolences. Oh, there's also Agent Jeffries, Radford's sorta eyes on the ground, but she's quickly dispatched as the alien tripods emerge from their shells. Which I gotta say, they don't look too bad, at least not until they start moving and taking down CGI helicopters. Agent Jeffries is killed in this initial attack, and Radford is given his assignment by Briggs. This leads to, and I'm not joking, a spreadsheet montage. That little bout of excitement is interrupted when Radford goes to help his daughter, only for it to turn out that the whole building is in lockdown, which of course means all doors are locked, and even when he hacks the system, Radford can't make it out of the building. It's probably worth noting that this was, you guessed it, a COVID movie. Yes, sir, it started production back in 2020, which makes me feel a lot better about my own movie, which I shot in 2023, not getting a release until later this year. The delay makes sense though. War of the Worlds is definitely a film made in the edit, and I imagine a lot has changed over the last few years to make it work. To make it what it is, anyway. Radford's daughter is injured by a tripod, and he rescues her by commandeering a Tesla and sending Mark to her location. Luckily, the streets are pretty clear and traffic is doing just fine during this world-ending event, as you can see from the car's dashcam. He also takes this time to start writing an email to Faith, just as stock footage from all around the world prepares to tackle the alien problem. This is another little issue with the film. We get shots from all around the world, and there is zero continuity regarding day and night. At one point, Radford clicks on a site on the East Coast, where it's clearly nighttime despite being the middle of the day in Washington, D.C. Now, thanks to some analysis from Radford, the President of the United States announces the title.
I see no other option to initiate this war of the worlds to save us all.
And the whole of the global military joins forces to take down the aliens, who change their trajectory, and Radford figures out that the tripods are targeting data centers around the world. Around the same time, Dave tries to warn his dad about the Goliath project to no avail. Meanwhile, in an inexplicably abandoned hospital, Faith contends with her injury. Then there's Sandra, who goes into one of the data centers where she discovers a bunch of little crawly dudes and the tentacles being used to siphon data by the aliens. At the midpoint, we now know more about the aliens, but unfortunately for our heroes, the aliens somehow hack military systems and gain the upper hand. How? Who cares? The important thing here is that we now know what the aliens want: our precious data. The Earth is bankrupted, chaos erupts everywhere, and even Facebook is deleted, much to Radford's chagrin, as he loses what memories he has left of his dead wife. Very sad. But Radford has a moment of brilliance. See, he realizes he can actually decrypt the voice being used by Disruptor, and it turns out, yep, it's Dave. A twist I didn't see coming because it's just that stupid. Dave's part of a group of hackers behind the Disruptor moniker. Why hasn't he been found out prior to this? Who cares? He sends his dad a bunch of conspiracy documents that prove Goliath is real, and basically every alien-adjacent topic talked about on last podcast on the left is being covered up by the government. Big LOL at Skinwalker Ranch being amongst the documents, by the way. This leads to the reveal that, shock and awe, Briggs is in on the Goliath conspiracy. And like a dumbass, Radford tells Briggs what he knows, and Briggs locks him out of his computer. But luckily, Dave and his hacker bros come to the rescue. Radford makes a YouTube video revealing to the world that Briggs is the bad guy, and news feeds all around the world take up the story, including Facebook News, which I guess is fine despite all of Facebook being taken down moments previously. Meanwhile, Disruptor develops a virus to take down the aliens. They're hacked, the attack escalates, the Disruptors are all killed, save for Dave, who uses his signal relay trick thingy, and the aliens converge on Goliath, which is stored under DHS headquarters. Luckily, Faith has been developing a cannibal virus which Radford believes they can use on the aliens, which are part tech and part biological. This part makes zero sense, but basically the idea is that they can turn the DNA sequence into a code, which can then be uploaded to Goliath, which the aliens will then suck up, resulting in them cannibalizing themselves. Or something. We get a ticking clock in the form of Secretary Crystal ordering the destruction of DHS to somehow stop the aliens from accessing Goliath, so Radford has to go on a suicide mission to upload the data manually. I think I missed a step there, but you get it. Plot. After finishing with his email to his kids, Radford stumbles upon one of the silliest moments of the whole film. See, because the DHS is so secure, he doesn't have access to a flash drive. Mark, meanwhile, has a drive, and since he's an Amazon delivery driver, he also has access to Prime Air. So Mark has Radford place an Amazon order so that he can use a drone to fly a flash drive into DHS and deliver it directly to Radford. All praise Bezos. Anyway, With a little help from his friends and family, Radford gets the cannibal code and uploads it to the Goliath server, despite being attacked by a whole hentai worth of tentacles. The aliens are defeated, the attack on DHS is aborted, and we're briefly led to believe that Radford died in the attack, only to discover he's magically all well and good, and leaves his job to spend more time with his family. The end. Okay, so a lot to unpack there, but not a lot of time to do so. Here's the question. Having laid out the plot and explained a few of the inadequacies, is War of the Worlds a bad movie? Yes. Yes, it is. However, I do think it's an enjoyable bad movie. I don't generally subscribe to the idea of so bad it's good, but War of the Worlds makes a great case for the concept. It's legitimately a badly done film, chock full of unfortunate acting choices, bizarre product placement, mind-numbing logic, pretty dire CGI, and this line.
There's more important things to do than to worry about what's in people's Amazon cart.
At the same time, as an experiment from the pandemic era of filmmaking, it's an interesting concept with good intentions that moves along at a decent clip and, most importantly, is incredibly entertaining. Sure, it's mostly for the wrong reasons, but I think there's good to be found in this little disaster. I guess what I'm trying to say is, maybe the critics are being a little harsh on this one? But hey, what about you? Did you watch War of the Worlds willingly or unwillingly? Let me know in the comments what you thought, and thank you for watching Screen Rant.